Hello, everyone. Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. Welcome to our Open Up Live talk show today. I welcome you all with warm arms. My name is Mathusha Kalamenon. I am actually a media coordinator for Voice of Men 360's organization and a proud voice training and voice coach for my school, which is Kalamenon Voice Academy. So, today I'm going to talk first a little bit about Voice of Men 360, as we are a nonprofit organization founded in 2020 and based from Toronto, Canada, but serving worldwide and to many different communities. Voice of Men 360 was born out of seeing a tremendous need and stepping up to provide services to help and provide support to overcome the challenges of life that men and boys are facing. We are also proudly part of the International Men's Day. International Men's Day has been serving now for over 21 years, and so far 90 countries around the world have joined together to do various activities regularly. Another factor is IMD, so that's the International Men's Development, which follows 6 pillars, which is the overall well being of boys and men. That's what it focuses on. And we are also currently following in their footsteps as well. So, many of you who are watching today, as I welcome you all and those who are joining right now, you may ask why we have this open up show that we are hosting. We had this open up show so that we can have men to freely open up their hearts, as many are not able to open their hearts and willingly share matters that are personal to them or concerns to them with anyone. So, when we keep our emotional challenges within ourselves for a longer time, at some point or the other, they're bound to explode. It's because we have bottled them up over time. And this is what generally affects the health condition in many ways, and of course, the overall quality of life. So, as a goal of that, that's why we want to work towards creating an open space where it's fully non judgmental, free and welcoming of every type of person, and allows the individual to truly share your life journey through our platform. We are aiming to create awareness about some of the life challenges, struggles, overcomes, ups and downs that boys and men go through throughout their lives that many of us are actually maybe not aware of, or maybe could use more education on, or maybe even some of you who are watching may be able to relate to these situations with yourselves or your family members. Hence, we do not place any limitations with gender, age, nationality, religious, faith, ethnic groups into you coming with us here to share your journey today. All walks of life are welcome to participate, so you're welcome to reach out to us, which if you feel that you would like to share your journey, I will be giving you contact information towards the end, so please stay tuned if you would like to participate. In the end, our overall goal is to make a very positive impact on someone's life through this program. So, Open Up Show, if you're wondering, is always being running on Sundays at 10 a.m. in Eastern Time. So, what we typically do is we like to bring in a special guest, an individual who is able to come share their life experiences right before you live here on this show. So, we do have a special guest today. So before I introduce them, I just want to go through our brief disclaimer at this time. So we want to remind you that the Voice of Men 360's mission is always delivered with a good faith and toward a peaceful harmony with good intent. The views and opinions expressed in today's opinion are those of our speakers. However, they do not represent the Voice of Men 360 organization. So, our organization engages in discussion forums to offer inspiration and create awareness of the issues of men who wish to overcome their life challenges. So, we are not providing any kind of medical or therapeutic advice, but if you do require any of that type of or nature of assistance, we recommend that you contact a medical professional immediately. If you have any further questions or concerns or any feedback about today's episode or any of the Voice of Men 360 content that you have been able to see over the past or in the future on our pages, please feel free to contact us through email at info@voiceofmen360.org. So that's info at voiceofmen 360.org. So now I want to get to the exciting part of today, which is introducing our special guest who is here to share his experiences and his life journey with us. So today's speaker is going to be Clifford Starks. Clifford Starks is actually the founder of Transformational Coaching for Motivated Entrepreneurs. As an ex UFC fighter, he has learned the habits to win at the highest level of competition. And now, as a current business owner, he is partnered with the most brilliant minds in the world and is off to fulfill the lives of others because everyone deserves to live the best quality and best version of their life. So, now I would like to give a warm welcome to Clifford Starks to our Open Up show with Voice of Men 360 organization.
Hey, thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
No problem. Thank you so much for joining us and being willing to share your life journey with us. This is a blessing, we consider it as, because not everybody is able to share or speak about their journey. So thank you for sharing your insights today. We look forward to see what you have to share. So, first, I want to start by asking you maybe if you can talk about some incidents from your childhood or experiences, maybe perhaps like more so when you were younger, maybe 5 or 10, 15 years old, that you feel have really taken a grip on influencing who you have become today and as a professional or in your position or your education.
Yeah. Um, Actually, I had three incidences almost back to back to back, 4, 5, and
Okay.
6. And these learning experiences kind of jumbled together and turned into one big lifelong lesson. And
Mm-hmm.
so when I was 4, my biological dad ended up driving away from my life. Now we have talked since. We talked on when I was 39, but I remember him driving away. And I remember thinking in that moment that people who are supposed to be there from you for you can drive out of your life. And so I focused on I got to get myself as strong as I can on my journey. And then at the age of 5, I remember my grandfather passing away. And that was probably the scariest thing to me at the moment because knowing that one day that would happen to me, that's what went through my mind is I'm going to die one day and I don't know what happens on the other side. I am a religious individual, but you still don't know, at least from my standpoint at the time.
Mm-hmm.
And at 6, my mom actually remarried, and she remarried to an amazing man that I call dad to this day. He's been there for me, he supported me. And so in my life, I got people who don't have to be there can be there for you. So I kind of combined all three of them as okay, there's people who are supposed to be there who won't be there. There's people who don't have to be there who can choose to be there, and we're all going to die. So let's make as much as we can with the life that we have.
I agree. Thank you. Thank you so much for showing that experience and sharing that that very difficult part of your life. I can see. Definitely, it is very hard when we have a trust figure or somebody that you feel you should be relying on for trust and safety and love and nurture. And when they walk out of your life, it feels very difficult. And I feel like that makes somebody into such a strong person. Like you said, you thought that you had to be so strong and you needed to pick up things at such an early age in life. So you have such wonderful insight to offer to someone who is facing similar situations today, and I feel that that's very valuable because it's very important for our mental health. And growing up as a child when you don't have so much support for your mental health or your well-being, and the people who should be providing that for you walk out, it makes it all that more difficult. Am I
Yeah,
correct?
yeah.
Yeah. And how would you feel that has impacted you today in your career? Like what do you feel you're able to contribute to society, or what would you share as a part of your knowledge and experience to someone who is going through that today?
Yeah, if I as I've gone through my journey, everything's a choice. It's such a powerful thing. And
Yeah.
sometimes I think we forget that. Because I could have gone the other direction too. I could have gone the negative direction, and I didn't. I went the optimal or optimistic direction,
Mhm.
and I was like, okay, what do I have? I always focused on, well, what do I have? And
Mhm.
I start finding what I'd have. And what was interesting is the more you focus on something, it actually starts showing up exponentially. Um,
Mhm.
there's been so many amazing people on my journey, and there have been sharks who bite and are not always nice on my journey. But the one thing that I always knew I could control was my attitude. And that's the beauty
Yes.
of the journey is regardless of what's happening, you can figure something out. There's a way out of it.
Yeah.
Um, and when we can control our attitudes, we end up winning in this game called life, not only for ourselves, but for everybody else too.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. I think that's very interesting how you mentioned about, focusing on the positives and focusing on what you have, appreciating it and changing your attitude. I think that's very important because, like you said, there's a lot of things that we cannot change in our lives. We cannot change or control who enters our life, who hurts us, or who decides to be the bad person, but we can always decide to be the good person and be better every single day. So I think that's a very motivational and inspirational thing, even for myself, hearing that from you. So I hope that's something that our audience here today can also take back with them, and maybe incorporate into their daily life as well too.
Yeah.
Going forward, I want to ask you, with your permission, of course, if you feel comfortable to share some experiences or memories from your relationship with your father growing up. So, as that father and son, and I know how you said, like, your biological father had walked out on your life. So, if you're comfortable to share some memories you maybe had with him versus the person that you now see as a father figure in your life, and how you learned from that and it influenced you later on.
Yeah, absolutely. Um, so my biological father, this isn't to um pass pass blame or any shame or
Mm-hmm.
anger towards him because he did what he could in the moment that he could do it. You know,
Mm-hmm.
that's what I always say is people are doing the best they can with where they're at in their life.
Yeah.
But I remember I was a 3-year-old kid, and it's just little memories here and there. It's very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I wanted to go on this Ghostbuster ride, and he wouldn't get on the Ghostbuster ride with me. And I remember being so like afraid to get on this Ghostbuster ride, so I never got
Mm-hmm.
on it. And I remember thinking to myself, like, I let fear stop me from doing something. And from
Mm-hmm.
there, I was like, I'm never going to let fear stop me again because I
Yes.
never got to have that experience. So from
Yes.
there, it was actually, it's interesting because everything gives us an opportunity, good, bad, or indifferent. We always get an opportunity with the thing that we have.
Yeah.
So we have something happen and we can learn from that experience. And so fast forward, the man that I call dad to this day, um, he was always there for me. He always loved me, and he always did his best. And what we sometimes miss is we say, well, he wasn't perfect. He was perfect for him. He did the
Mm-hmm.
best that he knew. He did the best on his perspective. Even my biological, he did the best that he could for what he knew from his perspective. And so all I get is, okay, how do I take this in? What am I going to use this for? Am I going to use like anger and hate and shame and guilt? And I always knew those were heavier feelings. And I
Mm-hmm.
have had those feelings before. Uh, Not even surprisingly towards my biological dad. I didn't have them towards him, but I had an
Mm-hmm.
ex-girlfriend who really put those feelings into me, you know? And so
Mm-hmm.
knowing that we have the choice on how we're going to feel about the situations that we're put in front of. You know, we have the
Yeah.
choice. And one amazing thing with the man that I call dad, he was very big on taking responsibility. Always take
Mm-hmm.
responsibility. And we all know how funny it is. It's easier to point at someone and tell them to take responsibility, but point at yourself. And what was so super cool as I went through my journey, I'm really good at taking responsibility. And
Mm-hmm.
part of the reason I'm so good at it is because I know I'm a human being figuring it out, putting it together the best that I can. So I tell people start with self acceptance first. You know, accept who
Right.
you are on the journey, what you stand for, and accept that you can do amazing things and you can also do horrendous, terrible things. It all comes down to what we practice. If we practice doing amazing things enough, it starts becoming a habit. If we practice
Hmm.
doing terrible things enough, it starts becoming a habit. But just like habits can be created, they can also be destroyed. So it's
Yeah.
about being open and aware every single day and say, why am I doing the thing that I'm doing?
Hmm. Definitely. I think you mentioned a lot of very, very critical and valuable points in that. When you were saying about this awareness and, being self-acceptive about yourself, I think that's very important and something that many of us actually forget to do at a lot of times. Before we even become judgmental towards others, we're judgmental of ourselves. We always feel like we're not enough,
Mm,
and we feel that perhaps there's things that we compare with others that we want to achieve as well. Here, say, I want to get into a job like this person, I want to work like this person, I want to be educated, I want to have a house like this. We are always working towards someone else's expectations rather than ours, which I think that's very important that you mentioned. And another great thing is how you also spoke about seeing the good in others. So despite, maybe if it comes off as a negative result or something that has been harmful or hurtful to you, but you are trying to acknowledge the fact that they were doing their best in that moment. And I want to go a little bit deeper into that topic when I ask you, because how would you recommend for somebody who is feeling constantly tormented, constantly hurt? So I'm talking about maybe somebody who is coming from either an abusive household or somewhere where they feel that every person who's to support them or provide love and care for them is tormenting them. How could they not express hate or, like you said, this distasteful personality towards them and try to maybe understand or respect at least
yeah.
them being in their shoes?
I say ultimately it comes down to asking themselves the question, is this who I want to be? Is
Hmm.
this who I want to be? And if it's not, what steps do you go about changing that?
Yeah.
Sometimes we're not in the right environment. You
Yeah.
know, who am I to know how I would turn out if my biological father would have stayed? Um,
Yeah.
I don't remember a lot about him, but apparently he had temper issues. I don't know. Like I said, I don't
Yeah.
remember a lot about him, but that could have changed my destination because I would have been in a different environment. And
Hmm.
in being in that different environment, it's okay, what things do I practice now? Do I get out
Hmm.
of that environment? Do I go into a different environment? Do I like who I'm being? If I do like who I'm being, why do I like who I'm being?
Hmm.
Being able to sit back by yourself and ask yourself the really, really deep questions. Because I think as humans, it's interesting if a person doesn't know good because they've never experienced it,
Hmm.
it's it's hard to tell them go do this so you can have this. You know what I mean? Like,
Yes, exactly. They
and
cannot see
so
that.
yeah, yeah. And so what I say is for anybody watching, try and do something right for somebody. See how you feel when you do it. It's actually in our nature to do right by one another. That's the cool thing.
Yes.
And so
Yeah.
when we do right, we instantly feel lighter. We feel better.
Hmm.
And what I'm essentially telling people on a nutritional scale is, hey, eat a healthy meal. Maybe some people have never had a healthy meal. They don't know what it feels like to have a healthy meal, and
Yeah.
they have their first healthy meal, and they instantly like, oh my goodness, I got this extra energy to me. I feel a little bit better.
Yeah.
We want to support one another.
Yes, definitely. Thank you so much for sharing that. I think that's very, very helpful, and it does answer the question. Um, being this person who you've come through so many different experiences, and you're able to share that core of your line right there, what you said, which was trying to see how you feel. I guess trying to acknowledge your emotions are very, very important,
Mm,
and respect how you're feeling about it and really think and analyze it. When we go through such a busy life, sometimes it's hard to analyze our emotions. So I think that's very important to start by simply doing something good and experiencing how you feel with that. So thank you so much for sharing that.
yeah,
Um,
definitely.
yeah, thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate it. And going on forward, I want to ask you, so as you had mentioned earlier, so as about your bio, being an ex-UFC fighter, you work with helping entrepreneurs and dealing with men, of course. What do you feel are some of like the, firsthand challenges and issues that you have faced or seen that they face, and what have you been able to see that they can solve towards a better forward or future?
So the thing that's so interesting, we don't know the solution to the problem that we have, because if we knew the solution, we wouldn't have the problem.
Right.
And that's where things get tricky, because we think we know, and in knowing, we only know what we know.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the beauty of coaching and consulting, because they can ask you a question in a way that can not only change your being, it literally changes your identity. It's
Yeah.
who we identify as. If we identify as a person who is, if we identify as something, we become that thing. Now, I'm not really going to go into the layers of how true that is, but
Mhm.
everything that I've become it because I've identified myself as becoming it. And the identity is, okay, who am I surrounding myself with? What exercises am I doing? Who am I being? So you can only be. You can't you can't chase being something that you want to be, because if you chase it, you'll never be it. You just have to be it in the moment that you're in.
Oh, okay. Thank you. That's very interesting, actually. I feel like that's a very different perspective to look at it. I
Mm-hmm.
know me personally, growing up, and many people always told me to chase after your dreams. It's
Mm-hmm.
a very common phrase that we all hear is chase after it, keep chasing for what you want. And that's interesting how you mentioned that chasing after it will make you constantly be chasing for it. You're always searching for something that you can't have, rather than just starting by changing your mindset that you have it right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's very powerful. It's a very powerful statement because it's very hard for us to somehow imagine that we have something that we don't.
Mm-hmm.
So, especially for someone who is facing so many difficulties or maybe feeling like they're perhaps at a rock bottom, and for them to feel mentally strong and to say that, I have this, I have the capability to do this, is very difficult. And what would you recommend is something that you can say to help people who are not able to maybe achieve this mindset and constantly feel that I don't have it. How would I have it? How could I have it? What would you say for someone like that?
Yeah. So you mentioned you felt inspired by something that I said.
Hmm.
Inspiration is power. When a person feels inspired, it gives hope. And my fourth principle talks about having unshakable faith. And say, practice having faith early and often, so
Hmm.
it's there when you need it. Um, Going around people who make you feel good, and not a synthetic kind of kissing your butt feel good,
Hmm.
but really, really challenge you to be your best you. They're just certain people, it's leadership
Hmm.
essentially, but there's leaders who you just feel really good around them. And you
Yeah.
can tell they're in there for your best interests. They want
Yeah.
the best for you.
Yeah.
Everyone has someone who can do that. Everyone has someone who can do that. And sometimes this is where it gets really, really hard, because sometimes you're the only one who can do it for yourself.
Hmm.
Sometimes you're in such a crap situation that you're around a ton of toxic people.
Yeah.
And it's like, how do I get out of this? Like, I'm trying to swim, I'm drowning. It's like, okay, do your best to find a quiet space and start working those optimistic muscles. Start working who you can be. Who can you be? Again, it
Yes.
goes back to that identity. And when you say something enough times, you start acting in that thing. Now, here's where it's so tricky, because I'm trying to talk to I'm actually potentially talking to the toxic person. This is why.
Mm-hmm.
If there is a positive individual and they are not, or like they're just confined, like they have no positive people around them, that means they're not even listening to this message right now. But
Yes.
if there's a toxic person listening to this message, and for that moment, they're actually shifting a little bit, saying, I am the person hurting this person, I'm keeping this person down. This message can actually resonate to that toxic person, making them less toxic and actually support the person who has not been getting support.
Yeah,
So I'm
definitely.
always looking at the most difficult situations. I'm always looking like, okay, what's the most difficult of difficult? The most difficult of difficult is they're not even getting they're not getting any kind of positive message. They're not
Yeah.
getting anything. They need the toxic person to actually deliver the message for them.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. I think that's very important that you mentioned that because I think we often forget, and even I wasn't thinking of the idea that maybe the person who needs the help is not able to receive your message right now. And maybe the people who are on the other end of the stick, who are kind of making that help out of reach for people, can
Mm-hmm.
finally think of why it makes it so hard and difficult for someone to rise, like you said, when they feel so suffocated, or like you said, like drowning, when you are the reason for them struggling. And I feel like that's a big eye opener even in yourself when you're saying, because maybe someone who is feeling that way can start to think of, like you said, what is the best version of you that you can be, what are the types of people you can surround yourself with. Most of the people who typically are, playing a role in this suffocation, who are making someone suffocate and feel that they cannot move forward, are because they're not able to find content with themselves. There's some kind of incompleteness within themselves that they feel they need to project onto another person. So I
Yeah.
think that's very, very important that you mentioned that. And I do hope that whoever is watching this is able to surely take something forward to, even if it's a family member, a friend, a coworker that you see is maybe facing some kind of a struggle. Any way that we can share your message today would be very helpful. So thank you so much for talking about those valuable experiences and your thought process and ideals on that. Thank you.
Yeah.
And I also want to ask you if you can share some possible techniques or strategies on how you feel you can achieve your highest in life.
Yeah. Yeah. There's an exercise called a 3 by 3. And what you focus on is name 3 things you're grateful for, 3 things you're proud of, and 3 things you want to improve on. And so when you have that positive, because improving is fun too. That is exciting to the
Yeah.
soul. And so when we can say, okay, what are 3 things I'm grateful for? Our gratitude muscle goes up. What are 3 things I'm proud of? Our pride and our ability to stand and our truth goes up. And what are 3 things that we can improve on? As a father, I am looking to be the best dad that I can always be, and I want my sons to be the best sons that they can be. And the goal is we're going to be our best in the moment that we can be it, and we're going to adjust as we need to adjust. We're just going to keep get understanding each other better and better, having amazing experiences, enjoying as much as we can, um, and just having a lot of fun on the journey.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that positive perspective. So, I think definitely that 3 by 3 rule is very helpful. I think it's a very simple and easy strategy that everyone can follow in, despite no matter how much of a busy or, a hard situation you're in. I think that's a very, very good way to start by, I guess, grounding yourself to your current situation, trying to learn about being aware of where you are right now and what you have, like you mentioned earlier, being aware of what we have and trying to appreciate that first.
Yeah.
And I think that's a great approach you mentioned, especially as being a father. I think that's very important for maybe the people who are viewing this, who are either already parents or live with some form of family who has parents and children, or are maybe even expecting to become parents. I think that's a very important perspective when parenting your children, to be able to kind of provide that kind of environment where you're emitting these constant positive frequencies, like you said. of trying to understand one another, cherish the moments you have together and all your experiences. I think that's what makes the best version of each person, rather than hinting and pointing out each person's flaws, and it creates a more negative environment and more negative vibes that doesn't help us grow or make anyone better in any
Yeah.
place. Yeah, so thank you. That's very valuable. And going forward, before we wrap up today, I want to ask you how the audience can reach out to you outside of here. So, in case we have anyone here in the audience who wants to reach you or wants to find out about more about what you do and maybe connect with you and share their perspectives, how can they get in touch with you?
Yeah, thank you for asking.
Um,
It's Clifford Starks. You can find me on LinkedIn. You can also find me on Facebook Messenger. So either of those, I'll reach out to you. If you try me on Instagram, it might take a while. So you're probably you're better off with Facebook and with LinkedIn. I'm
Definitely.
also creating a group. So if you're an entrepreneur and you're vision driven, let me know. If you're looking to create big dreams, let me know.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Clifford. So I just want to reiterate that to our audience. So for those of you who may have missed the couple seconds that he described that, so Mr. Clifford Starks here is more than happy for everyone to reach out to him. You can definitely check him out on LinkedIn and also on Facebook Messenger. And he does mention that he's working with entrepreneurs who are looking for a good view and a vision towards something better and a change. And if you have something that you would like to share as well, please feel free to reach out to him. So I want to thank you, Clifford Starks, today for joining us at Voice of Men 360 and sharing such valuable insight about your life journey that I feel focused on a lot of important aspects such as mental health, well-being, self-growth, development, career, and family aspects. So I think there's a lot of valuable things that you probably have to offer, and we could probably discuss so much more. I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
So before we close, I want to just ask you if you have any further things that you would like to share or something that you would like to mention before we go forward.
Yeah. My whole thing is there's greatness in you. Um, Regardless of where you're at, if you're in a good place, if you're in a bad place, and if you're in a tough place, there's greatness in you. If you're in a great place, there's greatness in you as well. And it's important that that feeling that you are feeling, that amazing feeling you're feeling, please share it with others because everybody deserves it.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I think everyone deserves to know about how much their worth is, and maybe sometimes when they're not able to see it or they feel like they're clouded with their lives at the moment, like you said, emitting that positive frequency and sharing it with everyone can maybe help clear their mind, clear things, and help them see it. So thank you so much again for your valuable time today. And before closing, I want to mention to our audience, those of you who are watching up until now, thank you so much for attending today's Open Up show. I hope that you did enjoy it. And I hope that you were able to take home some valuable information from what Mr. Clifford Starks was able to share with us today. And please, please do not stop with keeping information just to yourselves. Whatever you heard, whatever you feel that you took back as information, please feel free to share it. We can only communicate and make changes in our lives and other people's lives by sharing this information, just like Mr. Clifford mentioned. And I also want to inform you all that we have a couple of live shows for those of you who are not aware of Voice of Men 360's other initiatives. So, as you know already about Open Up, that's what we had today. So, that's a story of sharing individuals and their life's personal journeys. And it's a live talk show that takes place every Sunday at 10 a.m. in Eastern Standard Time. Then we also have another program. It's called Viri. So Viri, this is actually the same thing as the Open Up show. It's a live talk show, but it's hosted in the language of Tamil. This also takes place on Sundays, but at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. So we also have a couple of other ways that you can reach out or find out about our initiatives, such as monthly webinars. This takes place on the first Saturday of every month at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we technically we bring in expertise or other organizations that can discuss a special topic for the month each time. And we also have our monthly special show, which is known as the Unspoken Tears. So this is on the second Saturday of every month from 10 a.m. to 11 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. This is actually something where we very specially focus on domestic violence against men, bullying, male sexual abuse, traumas, porn addictions, human trafficking, and much more very sensitive case issues that I feel that many people can benefit from. And we also have something known as the Author Circle. So we try to bring in individuals who have been regularly contributing or newly contributing to the well being of men and boys through their writing and articles and media as a form of communication to recognize them and appreciate their efforts. So this also takes place on the third Saturday of every month from 11 a.m. to 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And for those of you who maybe do not have it as much time, maybe to view the episodes or take place in live sessions, we also do have pre recorded podcasts that are also available across all of our 6 platforms, which is iPhone, Google Play, and so on. If you have any questions about how to access these, you can always reach out to us, which I'm going to give the contact information very shortly. And also, we do have a monthly men's group meeting. So one good thing about this is it's by men and for men only. So for those of you who maybe feel less comfortable in joining into live sessions where there might be, larger communities or non-male individuals, if you feel more comfortable with this, you can always reach out or participate. So this takes place every 2 weeks on Tuesdays from 6 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. through Zoom. And the next one that is coming up is going to be on Tuesday, September 20th. Again, that's going to be Tuesday, September 20th. And please, I do want to let you guys know that there will be no recording, so you'll have to join through Zoom. And the link will be available on our Facebook page and group. So once again, it's not going to be pre-recorded. You won't be able to review it. However, if you're able to join, please do feel free to join. And lastly, one of our recent initiatives that we've incorporated is called Pass the Talking Stick in light of the Indigenous community. It's a peer to peer support group that we're trying to shed light on the Indigenous issues and challenges, and even on how to, create an acceptance and a non judgmental community within the people that maybe others are not as much aware of. So, through our Open Up today, again, I want to let you all know there are no limitations with gender, age, nationality, ethnicity, or religious faith. So, all walks of life, once again, you're welcome, more than welcome to participate in our shows. If you want to be a guest in any of our shows and you're willing to take part in our organization, you can even help us out directly or indirectly. So, please reach out to us. We're always looking forward to work with individuals, professionals, experts, community organizations, government officials, you name it. So, any way you're looking to contribute, anywhere you're from, we're more than happy to have you as a part of our team. So, how you can get in touch with us, for those of you who have been watching, thank you for waiting patiently for this information. So, our phone number is 437 889 8329. And our email address is info@voiceofmen360.org. So that's info at voiceofmen360.org. Our website is also www.voiceofmen360.org. And you can also, of course, find us across all social media platforms. We do have a Facebook group and page, so you can please feel free to join our open group to see our daily activities, upcoming events, and initiatives. And please feel free to invite your friends or family as well. And you can also reach out to us through Instagram, LinkedIn, Twitter, YouTube, and we also do have a TikTok page. Please do not forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel, Voice of Men 360, in order to keep updated with all of our new initiatives and new shows as well. And we want to reach out and continue to help more and more people along our journey. I thank you all for our support and thank you all for attending today. I hope you enjoyed.